Welcome to the second edition of Drivers of Change, powered by Mahindra Automotive and the India Today Group. Over the next 1 month, we're going to be covering over 10,000 kilometers across the country in our XUV700s to get you stories of the real change makers of this country, in line with our Republic Day theme of Swarnim Bharat, Vikas and Virasat. And joining me also to talk about Drivers of Change is Nalinikant Koragunta, CEO of Mahindra Automotive. Just run us through really the theme, which I find so interesting and so intrinsic to what India stands for, Vikas and Virasat. How does that really blend with what Mahindra stands for?
We're looking for ways to push the country forward and progress, but at the same time holding on to the roots and the traditions of the country. And that's really what Vikas and Virasat comes to as well. And so we are all marching towards the 2047, towards the developed India dream.
I'm joined now by Manjari Upadhyay, Chief Marketing Officer of Mahindra Automotive. Congratulations. And take us through really why you said that this should be the focus point, the biggest talking point of this initiative.
We're very proud to associate the Drivers of Change initiative with something that's relevant. And this edition is all about recognizing and celebrating silent heroes who have contributed to development and the development of heritage and bringing it to limelight.
We have with us Yogendra Pratap, editor of AutoToday. Yogen, congratulations on the second edition of Drivers of Change. Can you explain to us where this idea actually came from?
So it all started with this car, which brought about a sea change, and we were thinking, how do we take it and identify it with the kind of stories that India today does? Again, taking on the theme of Swarnim Bharat, Virasat or Vikas, we are identifying people all across the country who've made a significant contribution to Vikas and to also preserving and taking forward our heritage. And we are heading out today itself.
I have with me Neha Anand, VP and Head of XUV Brand Portfolio and also the Head of International Marketing.
So we're looking forward to this, great initiative. And 700 was launched in 2021, and really to represent the new India. And the idea is really the convoy of 700s, which is representing progress, to go and kind of invite all these progressive Indians to this initiative. So looking forward to that.
After flagging off from Mumbai and making a stop in Pune, we are headed towards Solapur today. And we are on the kind of road that complements the XUV700 almost perfectly. It has excellent highway manners thanks to that sublime ride quality. And don't forget, this is just the beginning of our massive 10,000 kilometer journey across our vast and beautiful country. And we'll be meeting our first achiever really soon. We're finally here to meet our first achievers, Skyroot Aerospace, based out of Hyderabad.
Well, there are a few things that we love: cars, jets, and the space.
Absolutely. Let's head in and meet the co-founders.
I'm Bharat. I'm one of the co-founders of Skyroot Aerospace. At Skyroot, we are developing orbital class launch vehicles called the Vikram series, named after the founder of Indian space program, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai. It is his vision that has made India stand where it is today, where the Indian space program can rub shoulders with the top 5 nations in the world.
My name is Pawan. I'm co-founder and CEO of Skyroot Aerospace. See, we started our company in 2018. At that time, there was no policy even for the space sector, and there was no funding environment. So we started with a blank sheet of paper with literally nothing. Skyroot has launched India's first privately developed rocket. So I think that's a great dawn for the country, and then we are going to get to commercial launches, becoming like one of the very few private companies in the world to build that capability and also be one significant part of the entire space economy.
Now we've already met our first achiever in Hyderabad, the geniuses at Skyroot Aerospace. And now we're headed towards Bengaluru to meet our second. Now in terms of domain, there is a slight bit of difference, but the overall theme of Vikas and Virasat remain the same. Now if you're wondering, Vikas translates to growth or development and Virasat translates to heritage. And what better way to travel across the country than in the Mahindra XUV700, a homemade product made to global standards and is an internationally sold product.
Namaste. So I'm Dr. Vishal Rao. I'm a surgical oncologist. I specialize in the field of head and neck surgical oncology. My journey in Bangalore began almost 2 decades back when I started my work with the government cancer hospital here and then moved to HCG. HCG is Healthcare Global. We are a chain of cancer centers. We are about 28 cancer centers across the country right now. I think drivers of change are people who try to embrace change and not resist it. Change is the only thing permanent in today's world.
It has been quite a journey whilst meeting the achievers in the second season of Drivers of Change. We've met Skyroot Aerospace at Hyderabad and then Dr. Vishal Rao in Bengaluru. Now though, it's time to head to Trivandrum to meet yet another bunch of geniuses from Gen Robotics and also a very special achiever in Mithil Devika. And what better way to do this journey than in the XUV700. This proved to be a safe and worthy companion thanks to its powerful engine options and safety equipment like level 2 of ADAS. And yes, this is a 5-star rated G NCAP car.
Hi, myself Vimal Govind MK. Me with my 4 other co-founders started Gen Robotics long back. So the first thing, we started with a passion in robotics, and then that passion we can use it for a purpose, like helping the people who's really needed. This was a real meaning to it. And when it add and connect with a startup, when it connect with a living, 3 combinations is very beautiful, and that's the spirit that we are having in Gen Robotics, and that's spirit we are spreading across also, even serving people for free of cost. Obviously, it's give us the responsibility to be the drivers of change for the future and for the mankind in the world.
My name is Mithil Devika. I like to call myself a practitioner academic of dance, and Mohiniyattam is my main medium. I am presently a postdoctoral fellow for the Higher Secondary Education Council. Creativity is when you allow space to define your work, you move from the realm of self-expression to spatial expression. So it's just how creative you are with your art form. I know that I am a driver of change, but if you talk about change, I think time is change and space is just what we occupy in that time. I think even saying that I'm an unprejudiced artist itself has prejudice, so I would just like to leave it that way.
What a view! Well, the convoy of Mahindra XUV700s has now reached Dhanushkodi, just a few kilometers from Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu, and this beautiful place is just brilliant. Now we have crossed more than 3,000 kilometers across India after leaving Mumbai, and we have crossed cities such as Hyderabad, Bengaluru, Thiruvananthapuram, and we have met a lot of achievers. These achievers have driven the change in their respective fields such as aerospace, medical sciences and robotics. And from here in Dhanushkodi, we now head north along the eastern seaboard to meet our next set of achievers.
Now we've covered a significant amount of kilometers so far in this edition of Drivers of Change, but there's a lot more to do. We've gone from Trivandrum to Kanyakumari to Dhanushkodi to Puducherry. Now we're heading from Puducherry to Visakhapatnam. A lot more achievers to come on the way. We've already met quite a few, and the next one will be arriving quite soon. We'll also be taking you through all the reasons why the XUV700 fits the bill perfectly for our conditions.
Now I've picked up the drive from Bhubaneswar and we head to meet our next driver of change in Jharkhand. Now it's a little place in Jharkhand called Chakulia. You've probably never heard of it. But for one person, Dr. Shalini Mishra, this is her home base where she's chosen to make her stand and drive the change that she wants to see in the world. Dr. Shalini Mishra was a practicing doctor in Bombay and she chose to give up her entire practice to dedicate her life towards one particular mission that really caught her heart, and she's in Chakulia right now making a massive difference. We'll tell you more as we get to her and tell you about her inspiring story as a driver of change.
मैं डॉक्टर शालिनी मिश्रा हूँ, बॉम्बे से हूँ। मैं बॉम्बे में मेरी एक फ्लरिशिंग प्रैक्टिस थी। एक दिन अचानक से मैंने सुना कि इंडियन मेडिकल एसोसिएशन में ध्यान फाउंडेशन के योगी अश्विनी गुरुजी आए, उनसे मिलने में गई। वहाँ मैंने देखा कि उनको 5 फोटोग्राफ बताए गए हैं। उन 5 फोटोग्राफ्स को देख के उन्होंने विद इन सेकेंड्स ये डायग्नोस कर दिया कि इसको ये प्रॉब्लम है, इसको ये। आई वॉज शॉक्ड कि ये कौन सी साइंस है। तो मेरी उत्सुकता बढ़ गई। सेशन के बाद मैं उनसे मिली कि आपको ये कैसे पता चला ये सब ऐसे है। तो उन्होंने कहा ये जानना है आपको, तो इसके लिए उन्होंने एक मार्ग बताया, कर्म का मार्ग। कहा कर्म करना है तो आपको नंदी सेवा, गौ सेवा से जुड़ना है। शुरुआत हमने 200 गौवंश के साथ की थी 2019 में। अब 5 वर्षों में आप देख रहे हैं कि 21,230 गौवंश है। इसमें आप मान सकते हैं कि लगभग 900 के आसपास गौ माता होगी। मैं ये चाहती हूँ कि इलीगल स्लॉटरिंग है और स्मगलिंग है, गौवंशों का ये रुक जाए। अनुदान मिले ऐसी गौशालाओं को जहाँ जो पुलिस या बीएसएफ द्वारा बचाए हुए गौवंश जहाँ हैं उनको सपोर्ट किया जाए। सरकार से हेल्प मिल जाए तो बहुत हेल्प हो जाए।
Jackets are out, which means that we are past the chicken's neck and on our way to the northeast of India to meet our next driver of change. But for us behind the driver's wheel, that means our first chance to get a taste of some really nice twisties and enjoy the XUV700 in terrain that it is absolutely built for. I mean, this monocoque paired with this sharp steering wheel really makes for easy driving through the tightest of corners. Makes it that much more engaging and that much more enjoyable for us behind the wheel. More soon. Almost 7,000 kilometers since we started the second edition of the Drivers of Change initiative. We are now in Shillong, just a short drive away from our next person of interest, which of course is Morningstar Kanthau. Now, you might not have heard the name Morningstar Kanthau, but his work has affected all of us and we've seen it for sure across many platforms. Now, Morningstar Kanthau is responsible for all the living root bridges that you've probably seen on social media. We're going to go meet him in Mawsynram, which is in Meghalaya, to tell you all about his story. And while we do that, we get a chance to see the beauty of the Northeast unfold as we drive to Mawsynram and meet Mr. Kanthao.
Hi, my name is Mr. Kanthao. I'm a resident of Rangtling village in Peninsula. So I represent as the chairman of the Heritage Committee, and also I'm the chairman and the founder of the Living Bridge Foundation, a grassroots voluntary organization which works for conservation, rebuilding and reinforcement of the living root architecture in Meghalaya. So I launched the campaign. In 2017, I started the Living Bridge Foundation. There's knowledge about road bridges. From my own belief, it's 1,000 years old traditional knowledge. We have a bridge because we have a village. So these are the means of communication from one place to another. You know, we cross the valley, especially the monsoon. They provide us safety. And also we believe these trees as a keystone species in a sense that it plays a big role in maintaining the ecosystem in our community. My simple message is just to rethink, be like bridging the gap for the future.
And you're joining us on Drivers of Change as we finish our tryst with the east and northeast of India and begin our journey back north. Now we are on the east-west corridor that will take us to our next destination in Patna, where we are about to meet a very, very interesting and integral change maker that has spent her life and dedicated her life to making a huge change to the Dalit community within India, and especially those in Bihar. Now, it's a very particular community and she's driving a big change as one single lady. We'll tell you more about her story as we get to her and tell you about her extraordinary journey of uplifting this entire community that she calls her people.
I am Sudha Varghese. My birthplace is Kerala, and I came to Bihar when I was 16 years old. When I was studying in class 8th, someone brought one magazine to the class. So there was one chapter on Bihar, and it was mainly on the poor, untouchable, the deprived class or community in Bihar. So in my mind it was like, why should such poor people be anywhere? And why should they not have a home? So I started giving them awareness about education, and without education you cannot go ahead.
Now you're joining us on the drive as we move towards Delhi. But while we're on the road, I'd like to take a minute to talk about something that we get to experience firsthand from behind the wheel on this drive. And it is very much on theme for this drive in general, which is based around Vikas and Virasat. Now, one of the things that we really get to experience is just how much the infrastructure has developed in this country. We've put over 8,500 kilometers now on the clock as we move towards Delhi. We've had a chance to see roads not only in the south of India, but in the far northeast. And one of the things that I can tell you is that we've really come forward as a whole, as a nation, when it comes to roads and highways. And of course, our trusty partner, the XUV700, makes very, very light work, being both an SUV as well as a monocoque-based vehicle, which really makes it comfortable on the long run without really having to make sacrifices on comfort or space that you'd have on an SUV. And I think that is something that really sets the XUV700 apart. But these roads really have made massive differences to the amount of distances that we can travel and meet more interesting people, even if they're in remote regions. And I think that is something that is a very, very important takeaway in this Drivers of Change, very much on point with Vikas, which is something that we are looking forward to as a whole as a nation. After making a quick stop in Delhi, we are headed to our next destination, Ujjain, which is located in Madhya Pradesh. Now we started out with the open fields, we've seen the sea, we've seen the mountains, and now we've got more exploring to do. Now in Ujjain, we'll be meeting a very special person who believes that their sport has the potential to not only be the next big thing in India, but all over the world and even the Olympics. Now, before we go ahead and meet him, we've already met a number of interesting personalities and there are yet more to come. But one personality that keeps us constantly impressed is the XUV700. You have customizable driving modes, you've got an automatic headlamp left, you've got customizable driving modes, and you've also got a very handy feature which is the booster headlamp, which comes on at 80 kmph and is an absolute boon on Indian roads.
मेरा नाम योगेश मालवीय है। मैं भारत सरकार द्वारा खेल के में सर्वश्रेष्ठ पुरस्कार जो दिया जाता है द्रोणाचार्य अवार्ड मुझे मिला है। साथ में मैं खेल एवं युवक कल्याण विभाग मध्य प्रदेश शासन की ओर से मलखम्ब कोच के रूप में नियुक्त हूँ। भारत का ये सबसे प्राचीनतम खेल है जो धीरे धीरे लुप्त होते जा रहा था, जो कई अनादि कालों से चला आ रहा है। इसके कई संस्करण हमको इतिहास में देखने को मिलते हैं। सबसे बड़ा हमारा चैलेंज था कि मलखम्ब खेल के बारे में कोई जानता नहीं था। आज भी अगर देखा जाए तो भारतवर्ष में भी कई ऐसे राज्य हैं जहाँ पर मलखम्ब को बेसिक रूप से जाना नहीं जाता था। तो इसका जो मूल उद्देश्य है योग का, उसकी साधना को प्राप्त करना है, जैसे यम, नियम, आसन, प्राणायाम, प्रत्याहार, धारणा, ध्यान और समाधि। तो इसका जो तीसरा अंग है आसन, जिसमें शरीर को साधना है, तो उसी का पार्ट एक मलखम्ब है। तो वो सारे पोज, आसन के जो पोज है वो सारे मलखम्ब पे करना होता है। इसे इंडियन जिम्नास्टिक के नाम से भी जाना जाता है। इसकी अगर आप हिस्ट्री अगर देखेंगे तो ये ड्राइवर ऑफ चेंज जो हमको दिख रहा है वो आपको प्रत्यक्ष रूप से, मुझे इसके बोलने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, आप जब इसका प्रत्यक्ष उदाहरण देख रहे हैं इन खिलाड़ियों के माध्यम से कि एक खिलाड़ी अगर हमारे बीच में आता है तो मलखम्ब खिलाड़ी सिर्फ खेल के क्षेत्र में नहीं आगे बढ़ता है, वो चाहे किसी भी क्षेत्र में हो वो आगे बढ़ने का उसको बहुत चांस रहता है।
मेरा नाम दिनेश भाई भील, एकलव्य तीरंदाजी एकेडमी नसवाड़ी का जो फाउंडर हूँ। फिलहाल मैं स्पोर्ट्स ऑफिसर हूँ डिस्ट्रिक्ट नर्मदा में, स्पोर्ट्स अथॉरिटी ऑफ गुजरात में। ये जो एकलव्य तीरंदाजी एकेडमी है मैंने 2005 में बनाई थी। 2005 से लेके आज तक एकलव्य तीरंदाजी एकेडमी के जो बच्चे हैं 35 बच्चे नेशनल मेडलिस्ट है, एक बच्चा इंटरनेशनल हुआ है और ऐसे देखा जाए तो 38 गोल्ड मेडल, 34 सिल्वर मेडल और 40 ब्रॉन्ज मेडल, ऐसे 112 मेडल नेशनल लेवल में हमारे यहाँ के बच्चे ने जीता है। मेरे को ऐसे लगता है कि मैं ड्राइवर ऑफ चेंज हूँ, कि हमारा जो वारसागत स्किल है उसको मैंने स्पोर्ट्स के रूप में चेंज किया है। और हम लोग तो यहाँ जो मेहनत कर रहे हैं वो ओलंपिक के लिए कर रहे हैं।
Namaste, Jagat Kinkhabwala from Ahmedabad, working on Save the Sparrows since 2012. when I read in 2010 the article about sparrows are getting extinct world over and only 10% had remained. I found out one reason, major reason, that sparrows do not know how to weave the structure of the nest. So use the corrugated boxes at our bungalow. As of now, using natural material, but the larger objective is to sensitize the people, connect more and more people with the initiative. In nature, nothing is useless. Everything can be repurposed. So if you recycle them, then it is very easy to remove the waste and put them to make it a manure out of it and give it back to the tree, and the whole cycle will go on. So whichever the surplus land is available to me, I am trying to create a cluster of biodiversity in it. But the wealth I have earned from this as an agent of change is immense, which cannot be counted in terms of value.
नीलेश मांडलेवाड़ा, फाउंडर डोनेट लाइफ। हमारी संस्था डोनेट लाइफ पिछले 20 सालों से समाज में अंगदान के बारे में समझा के, उनके अंगदान करवा के अंग विफलता के मरीजों को नया जीवन देने का कार्य कर रही है। जब भी हमारा देश शताब्दी वर्ष मना रहा होगा, तभी हमारे देश में किसी भी व्यक्ति की मृत्यु अंग न मिलने की वजह से नहीं होगी। ये मिशन लेके हम लोग चल रहे हैं।
My name is Radhika Raje Gaikwad. I live in the city of Vadodara in Gujarat. I consider myself a crusader for craft, for marginalized communities like the LGBTQI, disabled, women, children, and wildlife. I believe in conservation of our crafts, our heritage, our traditions. I'm very excited at the thought of expanding our museum to make it more relevant, to curate it, and to bring dignity back to the community and the hands that make these crafts and keep our culture tangible. I do like to believe myself as a driver of change, to be a voice for communities that are not represented.
Now what a treat the great state of Gujarat has been. We started out with Naswadi, we headed towards Ahmedabad, we explored Baroda or Vadodara, and we got a glimpse of Surat as well. Now we've almost come to the end of our journey and we are heading back to the city where it all started, Mumbai. But it isn't over yet. We've got yet more personalities to meet who fit the bill of drivers of change. Now the XUV700 has kept its cool all along the way thanks to the ventilated seats for the passenger and the driver and the dual zone climate control as well. You've also got rear AC vents to keep things cool in the back.
So, Namaste, I'm Bahauddin. I play the instrument which is called Rudraveena, which belongs to a genre called Dhrupad. And this tradition has been in our family for the last 20 generations. The Dhrupad has survived in our country for 1,000 years, is a rare instrument. And I have learnt it from the age of 16 from my father, Ustad Ziauddin Dagar, from my uncle, Ustad Ziauddin Dagar. And I've been practicing it for the last 30 years. I think the future is quite bright because I see a whole lot of people coming to learn this instrument. It's a rare instrument, and until now there were very few takers for this instrument. What I'm doing now is I'm also working with instrument makers because a generation of instrument makers has passed away. So we require new generation of instrument makers. I'm having a lot of conversations with a lot of students, and I try to reach out to the people more to see what I can talk to them about it, how we can think about it, or how they can approach it.
Now our journey has almost come to an end. We are in the tail end. but we've got a few more people, very special people to meet in Mumbai. And they all fit the bill of drivers of change. This season has all been about Vikas and Virasat, and I feel every single person we met along the way has contributed to that in a great manner.
Ever since I was a child, I had this innate desire of, traveling the whole world, exploring different cultures, trying different cuisines. But little did I know that traveling can actually be a full-time profession. Unfortunately, the food stalls or the vendors in India do not have an authorized place where they can actually exhibit or sell their food. So we would like to be the drivers of change there, and this is how we are trying to bring an impact, where we are actually refurbishing and giving a brand new identity or astitva to a lot of street vendors who are actually working hard to meet their ends and at the same time are giving good hygienic food to a lot of customers, and maybe bring about a change in government policies as well that gives them a chance, to run their small businesses in the best possible way.
I'm Neha Juneja. I am a serial entrepreneur, having previously co-founded Greenway Grameen, which is a rural energy enterprise, and more recently India P2P, which is a lending platform which enables retail investors to invest directly into India's best asset class, which is women entrepreneurs. So our ambition is to become India's largest source of alternate capital for women and small business owners. The change that we want to make is essentially correcting or capitalizing on that, left on the table large economic opportunity.
More than 10,000 kilometers, 15 achievers and 3 XUV700s. We've gone across the country looking for these extraordinary people, and we found them in every single state that you can probably think of. Meghalaya, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, you name it, and we've probably been there. Now, these 3 Mahindras have been our vessel in an epic voyage across our beautiful country. They've been our homes, they've been our shooting cars, and they've done everything and back with utmost confidence. All that remains to be said is, thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we enjoyed bringing it to you. Until next time, take care and goodbye.